Hey, Patrick, can you hear me okay? Can you hear me? Okay, good. I wasn't sure. So what you've been up to? I haven't seen you in forever. No, I mean I didn't really have a topic planned. I was all hot to trot last night. I don't know. I talked about a lot of stuff last night, but I don't have anything planned for tonight really. Just trying to come on to see who's going to come on. We could always talk privately. I mean, I'm on a Google Hangout if you want to join it. Hey, Scott Baylo. Why does it say Scotty Baylo? Did you do that to freak us out? Did you change it for real? Okay. I was worried. I was like, oh no. Sometimes I'll worry that mine's going to change to match my new birth certificate. Says yesterday, okay, that's what Patrick says. Yesterday, you guys, early in on your stream, were talking about how you've gotten the final piece of the puzzle for yourself. Scotty, you're the only one that doesn't remember it. It's even creepier when you remember it. No, what I was talking about yesterday was, I started watching this guy. It's like SMQ AI is his channel, and he was talking about, paying attention to repeating things like synchronicities and how the, Mandela effect is probably watching you. And I mean, listening to that guy just really put it all together for me. I mean, just personally, it made me feel better. So I don't know. It was crazy. I was on a tangent. Yeah, Scott. I mean, Scott Baylo, my birth certificate actually changed. When I was applying for my marriage license, this is like 20 years ago. Hey, Lisa Payne. But when I was applying for my marriage license 20 years ago, my husband was like, hey, we were born at the same hospital. And so I looked, and we were both born at like Lakeside Memorial, which is in Metairie, Louisiana. And I was like, hey, look at that, And then, and it just, I didn't understand because I thought that I was born at St. Charles General Hospital. And like the more I thought about it, the more I was like really sure that I was not born at Lakeside Memorial. And then later on, and I asked my mom, and I thought I was crazy for a long time. And then later on, his changed. And I was like, man, don't you remember that conversation we had where you said we were born at the same hospital? And he just didn't know what I was talking about. So there's that. And then, my name used to be Jayne on my birth certificate, and it's Jane now. And I have proof of that because there are people that I belong to a Facebook group from high school, and there are people that still refer to me as Jayne, Jayne. And this girl has this like photo book published, pictures from it where she took a picture of like an old photo album, and in the margins she calls me Martha Jayne, Jayne. So I do have residue of that. So there's that change for me. Yeah, I mean it's just something that's one of the things like I noticed, and that was a long time ago when that happened. The name change occurred at some other point. I mean, it's just, you know, yeah, I've had issues like that for years and years. And a lot of it I thought, I was losing my mind for many years. So, and I didn't really realize till around 2013 that I wasn't the only one who remembered Nelson Mandela dying. Because I mean, man, I was in school. I was like 10 years old, and they used his death to teach us about apartheid. And I remember that very clearly, how he was a martyr for his cause and just all this stuff. And then in high school, I heard they became president of this African country. And I was like, I thought that guy died. And people were like, no, no, he didn't die. People thought I was crazy. And I thought, man, just like misremembering, like I thought I was just like losing it. And then like in 2013, I ran across I think it was 2013, but I ran across Fiona Broom's blog post, and it was like, Nelson Mandela died in prison, question mark. And I was just like, holy shit, I'm not the only one. So see, Lisa Payne said that's when I realized it too. Yeah. I mean, I think it was just serendipitous that I just came across that article and came across her blog. I mean, like, that's like a 1 in a million chance, especially back then. I don't know. Gee, I've been seeing this stuff for a long, long time. And I mean, I can remember being a little kid and sitting on the floor in second grade with those Berenstain Bears books, and half of them were Steen and half of them were Stain. And I asked my mom, and she was like, you know, she was like, oh, they probably changed their name because it sounds Jewish. That's what she told me. And I was just like, okay, I mean, I just accepted it, just kept going. But see, Linz remembers him dying in jail. I do too. I mean, I'm in my 40s, and so I remember that. And like the Tiananmen Square guy, I totally remember watching him getting run over by that tank. And it just really scarred me as a kid. I mean, just to see something like that on television, I mean, it was shocking. I was very small. And I remember, how horrified people were. And that's something I asked my sister. I was like, tell me, remember the Tiananmen Square guy? She's like, of course, because my sister's 9 years older than me. So she remembers it clearly. And so when I asked her about it, she was like, yeah, he got run over and killed. I was like, look up the video. And so we were on Skype and she looked it up. And I mean, just the look on her face. And see, I got all excited and I started talking about like, how like the experiments my husband and I have done, with cameras and being able to zoom in on things that are, that you shouldn't be able to, from too far away, things like that. And she got really upset as soon as I brought up that the earth wasn't what we think it is. I lost her. She got mad and started screaming at me. So yeah, see, Linz remembers him getting run over by the tank. Yeah, I remember all that, So I've been dealing with this for a really long time, and that's why I have that belief that I do, that it's always been like this. The only reason we can observe it is because we're all on the internet and connected. Otherwise, we wouldn't have ever known each other, So Robert says, me. I mean, Patrick Roberts says, me too. So, I mean, yeah, I just remember how shocking that was. And I remember like in 2015 when I saw him get up on that tank and he was like all victorious or whatever, I was like, what in the holy hell is this? You know, they get angry. See, Scott Baylo saying, I don't get why they get so angry. They get angry because if you admit that that's true to yourself, you have to admit that you've been lied to, and that's really hard for people. That's what I think. That's my opinion on it. Yeah, it could be CGI, but I don't know. Just like, have y'all heard about the latest thing I've been seeing? Like people have been posting lots of videos about it, but is there's a sculpture of like a fallen astronaut on the moon. I would have I would have heard about that. But they have articles of presidents talking about it, video footage. Of course, I guess all that could be faked, but I just think it's always been happening. We just didn't realize it. I mean, but I'm open to any possibility. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'll admit it, you know. Lynn said I had a Volkswagen Jetta and sold it in 2011 to get my first minivan. I remember the day the line appeared. Huh. And feeling so weird, but didn't think it could change until last year. Yeah, see, I saw that years ago and thought it was just like a stylized logo change. That's what a lot of us think. When you see something change, you're like, oh, it's a logo change. You don't think to look into the history of the company to see if it's always been that way. It's like you notice it. And I'm sure a lot of y'all, have thought to yourself, there's something wrong with this place. I just can't put my finger on it. And Scott Baylo's like, yeah, it's not like any of us have a problem admitting we're wrong. Yeah, I mean, when you see when you see that the past can change, I mean, anything's possible. I mean, that's why. I mean, that's why for me, I'm just trying to enjoy like the moment, enjoy my children, enjoy my husband while I can. I mean, I can't get if I get too hung up on it. I mean, I will have a breakdown. I mean, I'm not as strong as some people. Like some people can sit there and look into all these changes and just like really, really research it, and it just it starts to really upset me. So Lisa Payne's like, right, I want to be wrong, but yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, the whole thing is troubling, and then like when the thing that really gets me are like the supernatural Bible changes, you know, and then, I keep getting drawn to like all these passages about the elect and things like that. And, I'm starting to think that's, I've been thinking that that's what we are, you know, we're the people with the, ears to hear and the eyes to see. So, and I think if that's true, the elect survive and cannot be deceived. That's the thing. So it brings me a lot of comfort. Lynn says, I have a photographic memory. I knew something was different. I didn't realize this was my first memory until months into the ME, and it hit me all of a sudden. Let's see. Yeah. Scott Baylo says, I went through a lot of breakdowns this last year. Hopefully there'll be less this year. Yeah, it does get better with time. It's just like, you're able to cope with it a little better as time goes on, especially as you start to realize that, I mean, guys, I think there's something supernatural about it. Yeah, Scott, you'll get stronger. That's the thing. I mean, don't let it get you down. Patrick says, what gets me is I feel like I've been through all this before. And see, that really resonates with me because I don't know. I see like what's that writer's name? The one who talks about how he's lived this same life over and over again. I mean, that could be true, or it could just be recollections of parallel realities. I don't know. Mhm. Lisa says it gets better. It does. It really does. Linsby says, Patrick, I have constant deja vu, and sometimes it feels like I've done years over and over again. Yes, I feel kind of tired, you know. Yeah, it is weird, especially if you're just like 1 or 2 years into it, into realizing, that you're not the only person seeing this stuff. Scott Baylo says, "Yeah, the changes don't bother me at all, but it's the not knowing any of it is real, and if anyone is real." Yeah. Somebody suggested the other day, it might have been Q, I'm not sure, but somebody suggested the other day, like, what if we're all in different realities and we're just communicating through a computer? I mean, man, that's totally possible. I hope that's not the case. I hope not. I I have a suspicion that isn't the case, but I mean, I can't prove it one way or another, can I? Not until I meet some of you guys face to face. I mean, I know my kids are real. I know my husband's real. I mean, at least, I mean, really, you go into any college philosophy class and they'll say, prove you exist and you can't. I mean, but that's another topic. You can't really prove any of this. I mean, but I feel comforted in the belief that, I do have free will. I have my own mind. I can at least trust my memories. Lisa Payne says it will consume you at first, but you have to find a way to go on with the daily things as best you can. Yeah, because like at first you just get really obsessed and you can hardly live. And you're trying to tell people everywhere you go, and you sound like a crazy person. Lynn says to Scott, totally went through that point up to where I thought it's all in my head. And then Scott says, I think we're in our own universe and can interact with each other's probably like, in our own, realities. Definitely. And Patrick says, well, Colleen, Rashley, and Poppy will be meeting soon, so we will know. Yeah, Lisa agrees. That's the thing. I mean, I feel like at some point, um, some of us are going to physically get together and probably, I don't know, if things deteriorate here in this realm, we might have to cohabitate at some point. I don't know. It's possible. It's possible everything will be just fine, and some groups in this world are just fear mongering. Scott Baylor says the world does revolve around you, me, us. Yeah, it does. It does in a way. I mean, because that's all you have is your own reality and ideas of how things work. That's all we have in the end. Lindsay says, I think the ME does help me focus on one day at a time and enjoying the time I have. Big lesson for me, someone who always wanted the future to happen. That's the thing, future never comes. And I tell my kids that all the time. Tomorrow never comes. Just go ahead and do it. Like when I'm talking about schoolwork or whatever. But it's really true in all areas of your life. Just do it already. Scott Bailey feels the same. But that's the thing. The future just creates like dwelling on like the future. I mean, it's just like a waste of your present moment. Lisa says it humbled her and she wouldn't take it back. Oh yeah, I wouldn't want to be asleep. I feel sorry for those people. I really do. Someday never comes. Yeah, that is a good song. Lynn says either do it or decide you don't want to. That's true. You know, and you can either like dwell on the past and create all kinds of anguish for yourself, or keep living for the future and not enjoy your present moment, or you can just let all that shit go because you can't depend on either one. The past can change, future's uncertain. you know I keep thinking about this, a person that I met one time who told me something like, "The eagle in the sky doesn't worry about how it's gonna get its next meal," you know? It doesn't worry, it doesn't think about how it can fly, just, quit worrying about everything. It's probably good advice, you know? One thing a change me and my husband noticed recently is we watched this, sometimes, like, if we're off, like, during the day, or I'll stay up and wait for him to get home so we can hang out for a couple hours because he works overnight and I work during the day. Um, Sometimes we'll watch a show, or, we do everything streaming, like, we don't have cable or anything. But I was like, "Hey," we were kind of looking for something to watch, and, he was like I said, "Well, what's that Room 104?" And we realized it was based on a movie, um, and I think it was like the movie was called, like, Room 1014, or like 1040 or something like that. It's got, like, Cusack in it. It's got that actor in it. And he said, "Hey," he's like, "that movie used to be called Room and whatever that number was." He said, "Now it's just that number." And I'm like, "Yeah, that is a change." I mean, we just notice things and we're just like shrug our shoulders. We're like, "Yeah, that changed." The thing that always upsets me is when people come back to life. I just hate that. That's what bothers me. Lynn says, "Then you're not worried about it. The worry eats you inside, anger, hate. All of it is no bueno to keep inside." Yes, the birds, my favorite Bible teachings. Yeah. Scott Baylo says, "I'm trying to let go of the past. It does absolutely no good to dwell on the happy days when they weren't as good as you remember anyway." You kind of romance it too, don't you? Especially when people die, you can only really remember the good things a lot of the time, you know? Lisa Payne says, "Firsthand harboring past pain and worrying equals shingles." Yeah. Or hives or ulcers. That's the thing. Lindsay says her days are happiest now. Yeah, me too. I used to be a pretty miserable person, just real depressed. I can remember when I lived in New Orleans, I would walk through the French Quarter. I used to be a French Quarter bartender back in the day. And I would, sometimes get off of work, or if I didn't have to work that night, I would get all dressed up and just walk around in the French Quarter by myself because I kind of wanted to be near people, but I didn't really want to interact with anyone. That's pretty sad. But see, Scott remembers that movie the way I do. Yeah, that's one that's changed. I don't know if anybody's talked about that one. They may have. I don't know. But it's like I can find them wherever I go. It just seems like, that's why I can't even stand I won't rewatch. Like, if I've watched a series, I can't rewatch it because, there's a lot of changes in, like, a lot of the stuff that I've watched, and or, like, music. I have a hard time listening to some music because it just sounds off, and I don't wanna sit there and analyze it. Nostalgia is healthy, but dwelling is toxic. That's true. Patrick says, "I've always wanted to be like that show that them guys travel from reality to reality. Oh, the Lookalike Earths. What is that show? And that's funny because we were talking about that show yesterday, and I can't remember the name of it either. And Patrick's like, "I'm living it." Yeah, the autoimmune disorders are weird to me. What is that show called? It's right on the tip of my brain. It has a character named Olivia. She's blonde headed. Um, and she's like some kind of like government agent, and they use like the Statue of Liberty as a portal to travel from dimension to dimension. I can't remember the name of it. It wasn't Quantum Leap. It was something newer. Um, but yeah, that show keeps coming up for me. I may have to watch it again, I guess. It's not Sliders. It had like a crazy professor, and he goes into another reality, like another dimension, to save his son, the other version of his son, because his son dies. I can't remember the name. I could probably find it online. Let's see. Fringe. That's what it's called. Yeah. Fringe. That show. Because I remember I tried to rewatch it one time and I was like, this looks off. I just didn't want to, I didn't want to watch it. Quantum Leap. I used to hate that show. My brother loved that show when we were kids. He used to make us watch it. You know, there weren't all these channels like there are now. Anybody else remember the Statue of Liberty with her left arm bent, with the torch very bent? No, I don't. I don't have a lot of experience with Statue of Liberty though. Lisa Payne is my cousin's name too. That's interesting. Lisa Payne, you've never seen Fringe? That's a good show. You should watch it. Like they'll sit there and will themselves into like another reality. And people have mentioned it. I think MA mentioned it on his stream. My husband and I just started talking about it the other day, and then Patrick brought it up, so I probably ought to look into that. Yeah, it's really good. Oh, okay. So Patrick was talking about Sliders, but I don't know, brought up Fringe for me. Fringe is a good one. Linsby said I did a skit as a kid and went to Ellis Island to visit it. Yeah, I've never been that far up north in the United States. Oh, Scott Baylo, you ought to watch Fringe. It's really good. Because it's, at one point, like the character meets the other version of herself, and that's very interesting. Corey's like, damn, I still haven't started watching that yet. Is it on Netflix? I don't know. It might be. I watched it a long time ago when it was coming on TV, though. Oh, no, it wasn't very long ago, but yeah, I watched it. I can remember like we had gotten our new like Sony television, and we thought it looked so real. We were like, oh my God, this is awesome. Monkey. That's so cute. That's a cute little name. Hey, Korrie, Jade. But yeah, that's says I tried watching it the other night, but the porn kept popping up. I wonder why that is. I don't know if we can exist with another version of themselves. Oh, I'll tell you something interesting that happened to me though. There was a girl that worked at my job temporarily, and she was like, she was like, man, you remind me of this girl in college, Martha, that I used to hang out. Y'all look just alike. You both have red hair. And I was like, really? I was like, she went to school at Ole Miss, and I went to school at the University of New Orleans. But I had a scholarship offer from Ole Miss, and I thought about going there, but I decided the art department was better at the University of New Orleans, so that's where I ended up going. And she was like, yeah, and then one day we were talking about her, and I don't know, we were talking about other things, and I told her this story about a girl getting harassed in high school, and she had looked out for me, like I was smoking in the bathroom, like smoking a cigarette, and she didn't tell on me, and she kind of like would watch out for me. And I saw somebody like bothering her, so I grabbed that person and like threw him up against a locker, like leave her alone, And she said, "Oh my God, you are just like my friend Martha from college." She said, "I'm telling you, she has told me that almost that exact same story." And when she said that, it hit me, and I was like, "Wait a second." I was like, "What was her name?" She was like, "Martha Webb." And I was just like, "What?" And she was like, "Yeah." She was like, she was a little younger than me, which I am younger than this girl. And she said she was always in her dorm room, like smoking pot. And I was like, "Really?" And I found out that me and this other girl, Martha, went to the same boarding school, French Camp Academy, in here in Mississippi at the same time. But this girl, her parents died in a wreck, and she was raised by her rich grandparents who used to donate money to the school, and my grandparents donated money to that school. And see, she said that she's lost touch with her, and she doesn't know where she is. So that's a question I'll never have answered. Was that the other me? I don't know. But yeah, that one was really strange. And I mean, it upset me for quite some time. I mean, I have sat there and searched for this person, looking through yearbooks, looking through, and I can't find her. I mean, she's got to be me, right? Bizarre. Except in another reality, my parents died, I guess. I mean, it all could be a misunderstanding, but I mean, I can't prove it one way or another. But yeah, I get a lot of effects like that where it's like personal to my life, and it's because I've disengaged from technology and, from most technology. And the matrix or the effect doesn't know how else to communicate with me. See, Lynn says, wow, weird. I've had people do that to me too. I look like the woman in my community despite not being the same background at all. There are at least two people very similar. Yeah, I have people come up to me in public constantly and say they know me, and it's like a running joke in our family. But, also, like, my family's been in Mississippi since the Civil War. So, I mean, I could just be related to a lot of people here. I mean, it's possible. Scott says, so weird. I was in the store with my girl Mary, and some random girl called her Marie and said, oh, sorry, you look exactly like my friend Marie. Yeah, see? Strange. Scotty says, I bet we have body doubles all over. I mean, maybe. Maybe it was just us in another reality. That's why I prescribe to the layered reality theory instead of timelines or like different universes. I think it's like, I mean, Korrie once described it as like an onion, like a layered. I mean, and I think that's probably right, but I don't know. I mean, that's just my gut instinct. Hey, Q, how you doing? Scott Baylo says I look and sound like Ralph Macchio. Oh my goodness. Lynn says I've been harassed for joking about my identity. Yeah, my life is an onion, says Lynn's. No one saw that. Let's see. I'm not going to go back and look. Hmm. Porn pop-up kills me. Yeah, that's how you get busted. You need to erase your history. But you really can't now because like they sit there and track every single thing you look at, and they use it to advertise to you. So Korrie, Jade, cheeky monkey. But yeah, my husband and I were sitting there talking about, we were in the den. I had my phone in my purse, which was well away from me. Our computer doesn't have like you have to plug the camera in, so it's not like there's a constant microphone on it. And we were sitting there talking, and he was saying, yeah, I really wish I had some pulled pork or whatever. And I was like, I'll make some for you. And, you want me to go to the store? 2 hours later, I come into my bedroom, I get on YouTube, and it's suggesting pulled pork recipes. It's like, really, guys, you got to listen to me while I'm sitting there just having a chit chat about what we're going to have for dinner. So it's just like, I mean, it kind of shows you how sensitive, and really, I mean, I've read things that say that any electronic can sit there and be um, turned into a microphone of sorts. So, but there's no microphone or anything on my television. I mean, I'm not sure how that was heard. So that's a strange one. You see, Lisa says it happens all the time on hers. I mean, yeah. Patrick says, Martha, what did you say a minute ago about something reaching you um like through electronics? Who's listening? No, I don't think it's I mean, it could be the government, I don't know, but I mean, I think it's companies like, like Google or Yahoo or any of these, like if you put, like a pop-up blocker not a pop-up blocker, but, I don't know, some program my husband has on our computer that's these companies, these marketing companies are constantly trying to see what you're looking at, see what you're looking at. I think it's called, ad aware or something. I don't know. But if you sit there and look at the log on it, I mean, every few seconds they're trying to connect with you. And it's just like an algorithm. If they hear you, if they see you, it's just like, if you go to a website and then like later on you get on YouTube or Facebook, in the sidebar, it's going to have advertisements for what you were looking at. It's kind of the same thing, except they use your microphone to see what you're talking about. Just kind of messed up. But you give them the permission to do that when you download the apps. That's the thing. So it's not like, I mean, if you read that's the permissions that you give them, I mean, they have permission to access your microphone. I mean, they don't really specify what it's for. I mean, and they don't promise that it's going to be private either, and they're not always accessing it. So, I mean, you've kind of given them the permission to do that, you know. And I think it's just a like a computer program, you know, that just looks for keywords to see. It's an advertisement thing. But at any rate, Scott says they can listen to me talk about dick and other nonsense. Corey's like, they listen to everything. I test it out all the time. I was talking about bleaching once to test it, and sure enough, ads for bleaching came on. Yeah. Oh, well, I don't know about all that. Goddess, hey, Goddess, I didn't know you were in here. I've been flagged for 911 stuff. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I try not to post that stuff. And I believed that 911 stuff for a really long time, because my oldest daughter was like a little baby. And, we were just like into her. We weren't even watching television at that time. And my, my husband's, my sister-in-law called and she's like, have y'all seen the news? And we turned it on because we had like an old country antenna. We were living out in the country. And, I mean, we saw that and like within, I think 10 minutes, we saw it burning. And within 10 minutes, we saw that second plane hit and it was really traumatic. We were like, whoa. So I believed it for a long time. And a good friend of mine was like, that's all bullshit. Like he said it immediately. And I was like, what's the matter with you? All those people died. But that's before I realized that all that stuff's bullshit. You know, Goddess is excited to see you, Korrie. Yeah, and they had those yeah, we talked about like Korrie was talking about on her stream about the face, them questioning the founder of Facebook or whatever. Inside job. Well, it's all, that's the thing. I was talking about this last night when Robert Wood was saying like, how storytelling and plays and things like that are like the oldest form of magic. I mean, that's what it's for. It's to get, I think we have the ability to like through kind of like the 100 monkeys theory, I think we have the ability to create the reality here in a way. Yeah, not ultimately, but I think there's other things at play than just us. That's just my personal belief. It might just be us. I don't know, but I don't think so. I mean, I believe in God, and you know, so I mean, I've had contact with him. My husband's had direct contact with Jesus Christ. I have a daughter that speaks to Jesus, so I'm pretty confident that all of that's real. I feel him speaking to me in my personal life all the time. So I mean, that's me. I mean, and I'm not ashamed of it. Oh, hey, Goddess. Awesome. I'm glad you were talking to me. I'm glad you're here. And Scott says it's not obvious until you really pay attention. Yeah, none of this is. That's the thing, our ability to pay attention. I'm really thankful for that. Lisa says when it happened, she was in high school in Birmingham. Well, that shows you how old I am. I'm 42. I'll be 43 in December. I mean, I have daughters that are 17 and one will be 16 this summer. So let's go back and save the people of the Twin Towers so we can stop it. I don't think they're, I don't know if anybody died, Patrick. I mean, we just don't know. And that's the thing. I mean, I don't personally know anyone. And I don't know anybody who personally knows anyone. That's the thing. I mean, and I'm not saying, I mean, people may die. I don't know. I don't know about it. Lisa, are you talking to me? I look young. Thank you, dear. I appreciate you. You're my new best friend. It's retin A and lots of vitamins. Because I'm really fair and I don't have any wrinkles, and it's because I use retin A every day. I mean, I don't bake in the sun either. I've been like that since high school. I've been protecting my skin because my mom had problems with like skin cancer. I was always concerned I was going to get skin cancer, which is probably, I don't know, not going to happen anyway. And then the goddess of the four winds says, I can't believe the Twin Towers turned to dust. Yeah. I mean, it looked like a controlled demolition, but I don't know. See, Scott Baylo says, my mom's old neighbor apparently lost their daughter. See, I mean, people could have died in that. I mean, it looks like they blew up that building. So, I mean, 3,000 people could have died. They may not have. I don't know. I just, what really bothers me is the plane that supposedly crashed into the Pentagon. Like, just, people have like analyzed the phone calls and said, they probably took these people to like some kind of facility. That really bothers me that they could have just been like normal people that got executed. So that's another thing that bothers me is like, I don't know if y'all have looked into it, but like like all that NASA stuff, there's this video online where this guy has a iPad strapped to his front. He's an astronaut, supposedly on the space station, wherever the hell they are. But he has it strapped and you can tell he's lifting his leg, and in the reflection you can see these like people with masks on. And it really bothers me. It makes me think like, are these people being held captive somewhere and they're being forced to pretend they're on a space station? I don't know. That kind of stuff really bothers me. Let's see. Yeah, Linz, I mean, I think it was a sacrifice because if you really look into it, ground was broken. Like the very day ground was broken is exactly 33 years to the day it fell. So that thing was built to fall. I mean, they try to hide that fact. They'll tell you it was a year or two later, but if you really research it and research it hard, the day they broke ground was 33 years later to the day it fell. Nearly to the day. So that's, wrap your head around that. It's very upsetting. Scott says, I saw that. It's very creepy. Yeah. Oh, you saw that thing with the astronauts? Man, just thinking that these people probably like got degrees and just all this stuff and had all these hopes and dreams, and they had to agree to some kind of oath in order to do space, I'm putting air quotes up, like space travel, whatever. And then they were told, this is what you're going to do and you belong to us now. I mean, good Lord. That thought is terrifying to me. Goddess says, I saw a video where a man who was supposed to be on the space station and he was across the country from people he was talking to. Yeah. Oh yeah, they misspeak all the time, and like that Don Pettit guy, he's an idiot, man. I mean, he's just saying, just just look it up. I mean, that they say themselves on their channel they can't get out of low Earth orbit. They can't pass through the Van Allen belts. That they used to have that technology, but they don't anymore. I mean, give me a break. And people buy that. People want to say I'm crazy. I think I think people are crazy who just accept what's taught to them and spoon fed to them their entire lives. What is that about? I mean, people don't question anything. It's just really nuts to me. Lynn said, that's an interesting fact that you alerted me to a while back. Thank you for that. And oh, yes, it's all in the plans. Yeah. I think they keep getting effed with by the good guys. Yeah. Corey's like, have you got a link to that? Oh, yeah, I do. It's like the UAP channel is the one who puts that out. Let's see, let me get on. That's really, man, it just, and there's another one where like in the reflection, you can see this woman being like choke slammed, like on the space station. And that one's very upsetting, very upsetting. I pray for those people. I just really hope that's not happening to them. Let's see. UAP channel. It's just, that's one of those things that just. Let's see if I can find it. These people put out a lot of stuff, though. Mm-hmm. And see, they keep having to upload it because it keeps getting taken down. Yeah, this is it. It's pretty horrifying. Of course, it's got to play a long ad. Yeah, this is it. It's really horrible. These poor people, man. Let's see. I'm going to post it in the chat. If it'll let me. Let's see. It came out. Yeah, that's the link for it. There you go. Oh, I know that you're just seeing that, Goddess. That is so ridiculous. I grew up listening to her, and now they're saying that was her mother's name, and that's her God-given name. That is such crap. I really hate that. What she's saying is, oh, I just found Madonna's info says now she was born Madonna. Give me a break on that. It's just ridiculous. Oh, I didn't know you didn't have it. How can I make him a moderator? Let's see. I'm going to do that. Oh, okay, there we go. There you go, Scott Baylo. Hey, Dark Wolf. What's up, my brother? Let's see, he's got it too. The link don't work. Oh, maybe his will. He's a little smarter than I am when it comes to stuff like that. Yeah, but the channel's called UAP. So that's the name of the channel. But yeah, they post a lot of the, they sit there and study those videos. Like everybody's got their niche, everybody's got something that they notice about this place that's off. No, I trust you, Scott Baylo. You can keep the wrench. Well, yeah, just go to that channel. I mean, I've posted the channel name, and you'll have to say. I mean, it's horrible. Oh, cool. Dark Wolfden is working with SMQ to set up an interview. Ooh, yes. Let me know when that's coming. Please message me or something. I would like to hear that. He's just, man. I mean, just a brilliant guy. Just a brilliant guy. I mean, you're hard pressed to find people like that very often. Just the fact that he can retain so much information and his mind, you can see that he's like, putting it together. He's putting it all together in his own mind. And I just find what he has to say extremely interesting. I think, he's one of the most woke people I've ever seen. He's special, I mean, for sure. I wish my mind was still young and spry like that, but it's not. I know he's a brilliant guy. He really is. Like he's kind of like he's one of those people. He's figuring out like the philosophy behind it. He sees it at a lot of different angles, which is great. I mean, he's not one of those people that, sits there and just constantly researches changes, or just sees almost every change. He's not like that, but, he's well read. And I mean, he got together with this girl, Kat. And, the funny thing is I was subscribed to her because of like other videos she's done. And I just didn't realize that's who that was because I went to go subscribe to her and I was already subscribed. Yeah, SMQAI. That I posted it on the. I posted a link to like one of their videos on the Facebook group, Korrie, a little while ago, like maybe a few days ago, and I was like, man, y'all got to check this guy out. Some people have watched it. Yeah, he says stuff that this is what Dark Wolf is saying. He says stuff that sends the mind reeling. Yeah, and Chick is his co-host. Yeah, I don't know why I said Cat. That's crazy. Yeah, Cat's also good. I don't know. Maybe maybe it is the same person. I don't know. I'm getting old. Getting old, y'all. But at any rate, I don't know. It's just something to all this. Just like, okay, cool. He got it. Stop. What? Am I breathing into the mic too much? Sorry about that. Yeah, she's really great too. Like she posted this she posts some stuff about like like some esoteric teachings, and those are really cool too, Oh, talking about me getting old. Well, I mean, I'm in my 40s. It's just a fact of life. I enjoy it. I enjoy like when when I go somewhere and people automatically call me ma'am, I feel like I've earned that. I like it. And like the older I get, the less I care what people think. And it's really refreshing. We're getting younger now. Maybe I gained an hour the other day because I'm a creature of habit. I get up at a certain time. I do certain things. Like I have to get up, I have to bathe. It takes me um, about like an hour and 15 minutes to do my morning, like just bathing ritual. Like I have to shower and do my hair in a certain way, and I have to, put on certain creams and things like that. I have like a ritual in the morning. So I have to do that, and it takes a certain amount of time. I have to have my tea, just different things that I have to do. I have to sit down, put on my makeup. And so, I mean, I get up, I know what time I have to be to work, and I get there. And I mean, as soon, and my husband was even like, hey, you need to leave soon. And I'm like, I know, I'm on my way out. I get to work. I don't have to be there for an hour. Tell me how that happens. How does that happen? Oh, how old am I? I'm 42. I'll be 43 in December. Scott's 41. He's right there with me. I was born in 1975. 1975, y'all. Why does it have to be 33? I see 33 everywhere, Lisa. I don't know what it means. Oh, thank you, Korrie Jade. I appreciate that. I do try to take care of my skin. Yeah, Scott's 41. He's adorable though. And see, Dark Wolf's 38. I mean, I think you have to be like, you have to have like a certain like maturity level to see this stuff, whether it's, just sheer numbers or it's, mental maturity. Oh, thank you. Mason, what are you calling out my family? Let's see. God, I said 2 weeks before I turned 50, the AARP contacted me. I know that's depressing. Oh, Lord, Linz, are you also 33? Good gravy. Oh, Linz, were you raised by him too? Oh, you and I are probably related then. God, it says to tell me happy birthday and offer me a membership. Yeah, they can go stuff that membership. But, if it's going to save me money, I am a practical person. Not raised by Masons. I'm a slave. Oh, Linz, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was hoping that that wasn't happening to you. I always felt sorry for those girls. Martha, did you see Robert's rant about Masons the other day? I did not. Lisa says, "Get this, my birthday is 2/22, and I live at 1111 Greenmore, driving. I'm 33 years old." No, I mean, it's got to be a special year for you this year because that's really crazy. Lynn says my birthday's 11/22, and I'm 33. Oh, he always goes nuts about Masons. Yeah, he should. And that's the thing, most Masons on the ground level, like your police officer, firemen, people like that, they don't really understand what they've joined. And you have to get up in the ranks to know the truth of it. Dark Wolf's Den. I have another 33 plus Bible changes to cover tonight. Oh Lord. Somebody said that eyes to see was not in the Bible anymore. Have you found that Bible change, Dark Wolf? Because when I looked it up, I saw it in some translations, but not others, and I'm wondering if that's going away. Faith, hope, and charity. Yeah, whatever. It's always the mirror image of it, isn't it? The good old boys club. Now in this reality, there are women that are Masons as well. which like I don't ever remember that. I mean, you were like an Eastern Star or, you know, property basically. Eyes to see and ears to hear is in the Bible. I think it's in let's see. Revelation Revelation 22:17 has it. Let's see who else has it. Try to think. Um, yeah, like 22:17. I want to say it's like the Spirit and the bride say, "Come." Let anyone who hears say, "Come." No, that's a different one. It's something Jesus. Maybe Jesus said. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up. I was gonna say it was like Matthew 11, but that's not right because that's the one about being weary and giving you rest. I'm trying to think of where that is in the Bible. It'll come to me when I'm trying not to think about it. I've studied the Bible for so many years. Sometimes I could sit there and spit where it is. But I know in Matthew 24, it talks about the many being deceived and not the few. And then in verse 24, it's like about the very elect. But I'll have to think about that. Yeah, Jesus did say it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure too. But I'm gonna have to find that. I've been studying more of the the Nag Hammadi and um Dead Sea Scrolls because those don't change, you know. And I know that people say the Quran doesn't change, but I have an issue with how the Quran was written. So that's just me, though, you know. But I mean, it could be more spot on. I just don't know. That's something I don't know. I haven't studied it enough. Our brain synapses are tired. Yeah, probably. Yeah, because I wake up like around 6 in the morning every day. They use it as a code. Oh Lord, they're missing. See, Dark Wolf, I had asked him about it. Yeah, eyes to see and ears to hear is missing. I looked at it the other day and it was there in some translations, but not in others. And I thought to myself, I wonder if that's disappearing. Now it just says ears to hear and it doesn't say eyes to see. Maybe that's why our eyes are turned into hexagons. Hmm. Let he who has the eyes to see, let he who has the ears to hear. Not in the Bible. God bless it. It was at some point, I think. Let's see. Something to search. Let's see where it was. See, when you search, when you type in eyes to see, which is the part that's supposed to be missing, it says eyes to see Bible. So that's a little bit of a residue. It says Matthew 3:13. I knew it was Matthew 13, verse 16. But blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. And then in Mark 8:18, it says, do you have the eyes but fail to see, and the ears but fail to hear? And then, yeah. And then in other translations, it says, but blessed are your eyes because they see. Because I know that's something that reoccurs in the Gospels. So, I mean, it's there for right now. I'd have to look at I use an interlinear Bible. It's got the Hebrew for the Old Testament alongside the King James, and then it's got the Greek for the New Testament. I'll have to look in it and see if I can find it later on. She said that's not the same verse, nor does it mean the same thing. Yeah, you're right about that. Hmm. Maybe it's in the I'll have to look for that. Yeah, that's one to look for, isn't it? I think you're right about that. You know how like something happens, like that there will be an effect, and you don't remember that it's an effect until somebody says it. That was that moment for me. Yeah, you're right because it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't mean the same thing, does it? I'm starting to really look at it. Hmm. Yeah, hmm, man, that's gone. See, and that could have been from early days of when I was a child too, because I saw somebody mention that it's something that Masons say. So I mean, that's possible. Mm, damn. Yeah, I was wrong about that. Seems to me though, I looked it up the other day, but I could have been misinterpreting. You know, it happens. Hmm. You only know it from your childhood. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe some of the Bible changes or corrections, maybe some of them aren't. Yeah, I'm not sure about that whole thing. That's one of the things, like, I recognize that it's different, but I'm not 100% sure what's causing that. Scott Baylo just got a present from Jesus. I say that every time I, find money, like, I'll find money just laying on the street somewhere, and I'll be like, "Thank you, Jesus." Or if I get a good parking place, I'm like, "Oh, yeah." Yeah. Mandela weed. Yay. Yeah, and see, Rascally Rabbit, I'm looking back in the chat, it says, "They're referring to your spiritual eyes and ears, not your physical eyes." Yeah, you're right about that. And see, Dark Wolf says, "I've even found it in multiple sermons, but none of them had actual Bible reference." Do you think, hey, Dark Wolf, do you think any of it's like in the, maybe the Nag Hammadi or the, Dead Sea Scrolls, like in maybe some of the, excluded books? I don't know. Always search with it in quotes, says Lisa. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, the Bible online has always been like, you know, not something I usually use. I remember it there. Scott Baylor says, "Do you think that we don't experience death like others because you think we're the elect?" Yeah, I mean, I do think that. I mean, I do. I mean, that's just something that's a belief I have, at least right now. That could change. I don't think so though. But I mean, I do think. I mean, I think we're gonna. I think if it happens in our lifetimes, we'll be the ones that live to see it. I don't know if we're just supposed to raise the generation that does. I'm not sure. I do know that, like, if you believe in Bible prophecy, the temple has to be built up. Yeah, there's just certain things that have not happened, and the truth of the matter is nobody really knows. And further, it could be all of the prophesizing about it could just be kind of fear mongering because in the year 1000 people were convinced the world was going to end, and there were all kinds of spiritual movements about it. So you know, see. So okay, Dark Wolf said that's a great question. I'm not sure. I think he's probably answering the question I asked him a minute ago. Yeah, that's the thing with everything being so fluid and just changing so much. See, Dark Wolfston says the body's the temple. A temple is the temple. Body is being rebuilt. That's true. I didn't even think about it like that. And really, I think in my life, I've been, yeah, I've stopped eating animal products for the most part. I mean, I still consume honey. There's some things I do still consume, but I've really been cutting out the meat. I do eat occasional. fish sometimes and eggs. Like, but the eggs have to be like, they have to be like fresh, like free range. But I know the person who's raising the chickens, so I like see how they're treated firsthand. Because they can say anything at the grocery store, you don't know. Yeah, I do like that about, yeah, dark wolves. Dark wolf knows what's going on here. And see, that's why I like these conversations with people, and I like looking at other people's streams to see what they have to say, because I think everybody's got a little piece to it. You know. No, I mean, goddess. I mean, that's your journey, girl. You know, goddess says she's an atheist, but that's the thing. I mean, we all have the right to. That's the thing. We all have free will. You know, so in our own minds, I mean, you have the right to think what you want to think. I mean, I'm not gonna, hate you or anything. I don't do that. I mean, because I have a niece and a nephew that are atheists, and it really upsets my sister. But they were raised in the Greek Orthodox Church, so I can understand. Goddess says I was a Catholic. Yeah, I converted to Catholicism because my husband was Catholic. You know, Patrick agrees with me because he's my boo bear. Believing, I like that. Yes, we can all believe in something or nothing, but believing in nothing is still believing in something. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, see, I have a daughter. Goddess is saying, thank you. I've met people who just, well, I don't know what they think, terrible. Yeah, and that's the thing. I have a daughter who, um, if she meets an atheist at school, I mean, she doesn't like dislike that person. She just can't be around people like that for some reason. It really bothers her. But she's young. She's only 17. Like boys, like she refuses to date pretty much. She's like trying to pray for her husband, but she that's her first question to people, like to guys that come up to her. She's like, "Are you, do you believe in God? Do you believe in Jesus Christ?" And if they say no, she's like, "I'm sorry, I cannot date you." But I mean, I understand that because if she's got a strong belief, I mean, she's the reason we don't celebrate Christmas or Easter anymore. She asked us to please stop and respect her wishes, so we've done that, even though that killed me. I've been collecting my Christmas tree ornaments for years and years. But, when she pointed out, I mean, when you have a child asking you that and then they're pointing things out to you, I mean, she helps me realize, you know, the festivals these things originated from. And once I saw that, I mean, I felt bad about doing it personally. So I stopped. I stopped all that. So, yeah, she's a sweet girl. She really is. She's going to Mississippi State. She's gonna study agriculture. And the reason she's doing it is she says, at the fall of every she said at the fall of every great society, there's always like an age of androgyny and excess. And she said that's where we are. She said you can look at it, it repeats itself over and over, like in, Greek history, Roman history, pick a civilization that's risen and fallen. There's like cycles to it. I mean, she's right about that. And she said, so because we're in the last part of our age here, you know, of the good times, she said, what good would a business degree do me? So she's gonna study agriculture and learn she's gonna go into fruit and vegetable production. So, and also she wants to employ women that come out of the prison and like have kind of like a cooperative farm. So that's another reason we're buying this piece of land this summer. Because she'll be young and starting out. So she's a sweet kid. I got really lucky. I was a Hellcat at her age. I didn't get the curse. I didn't have a kid just like me. Let's see. Lindsay says, I completely respect others' views. It's their choice. Yeah, I mean, you know. Lisa said, Brian took me to Catholic church Sunday, wants me to convert. I mean, I'll tell you this. I mean, before I met my husband, I was nothing. I'd never been baptized or anything. I remember the Irish priest looking at me going, oh, so it's like you're a pagan, like a wildling. So, I mean, it did help me. It was like a stepping stone, you know, and I think it's all on how you look at it. I mean, I used to even be a sponsor. I would sit there and go to every single conversion class with people who were converting because I converted years ago, you know, and the thing that stopped me going was, you know, one day I realized my daughter, the same daughter, pointed out to me when we got a financial report that there was $3 million in the bank and they were giving less than 1% of it to charitable causes, like at our church, at the Catholic church I went to. And that's what did it for me. You know, I went up to the priest after the service and I was like, explain this to me. Because I wasn't even paying attention. I mean, she was a little kid too. I think she was like, I want to say she was about 14 or something, 13 or 14. I don't remember, but something like that, maybe 14. But it upset her. And because it upset her, I paid attention. I was like, what is this? You know, how can we have that much money in the bank and you're not, you know, why are we doing all these special collections for the Little Sisters of the Poor? You've got all this money in the bank. I was mad about it because my daughters were sitting there making rosaries for the Little Sisters of the Poor to sell. And they've got $3 million in the bank. Give me a break. You think, and then I started really thinking about it like, look at the way they live, you know? Look at the Vatican. You think Jesus would agree with that? Probably not. So, you know, that was a big wake-up call for me. Yeah, I mean, Patrick says, Martha, the land idea is a great idea, so I have a place to live when I get kicked out. Well, yeah, I mean, that's why we're getting it. You know, I mean, it's gonna be over 60 acres. I mean, shit, you can't even manage 60 acres on your own. I mean, people could live on it and I wouldn't even know they're there, really. That's the thing. I mean, you know, I live in an area of Mississippi called the Pines. So a lot of it is like wooded. Patrick, you better not. Better not what? Come live by me. Yeah, I mean it's Mississippi. Yeah. Mississippi's got some land, y'all. And I'll tell you this too, Mississippi has no underground tunnel system. It's the only state in the union, in the the whole US that doesn't have underground tunnels. Chew on that. So yeah, Lisa says, I just feel like religion and church sex are mandate institutions, and my faith is the church. Yeah, and I agree with that. You know, I think any institution that takes in money is corrupt. That's just my take on it. I don't want to go to church. I have no desire to do that. I agree with that. Oh yeah, permaculture farming. Yes, ma'am. I sure have. I mean, it's an easier way to do it. And we also do like in our backyard now we have we do vertical planting. So we have like these sorry, my throat's closing up. But we have like these bucket systems, you know, where it's hanging off poles. My husband put it together. Like he made it. So, but yeah, I like to we just sit there and kind of cultivate it back in, compost and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested in growing a food forest for sure. My sister turned me on to, and you have the chickens running around in there and all that stuff. So it's kind of like a little environment and it kind of takes care of itself eventually. I think it takes about 3 years to really set up a good one. See, and Dark Wolf is saying something about having a harem and see, and those kind of that kind of stuff. Let's see, what is he saying? God, says to offer a safe place where bartering is a way to go. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, everybody's got something to offer. I mean, everybody can pitch in and do something. That's the way we're supposed to live, I think. You know. And Dark Wolf says, "Me too, goddess," and a harem. LOL. See, and people who say stuff like that, I love you, Dark Wolf, but people who say stuff like that make my husband very nervous. That makes him very nervous about it because he was like, yeah, it's going to be all well and good in the beginning. He said, but what if you get some people on there and the shit really hits the fan? He said, and then they turn to our daughters and, maybe capture them. I mean, he comes up with all these scenarios. I'm like, oh, Lord. He's like, you can't trust strangers. Like, he has a really hard time trusting anyone, which I understand from his childhood. And he was raised by a police officer in New Orleans and, all of that stuff. I mean, he heard horror stories his whole life. I mean, he's had bad experiences himself. So, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Yeah, I think it would work out fine, but it concerns my husband. He's like, yeah, I think we're all working on doing the same thing, but with yurts. My whole thing is I like those geodomes, like Pacific Domes puts them out, because you're supposed to get different sizes that'll help with like different frequencies and connections, which I think is kind of neat. I don't know. Lynn says, teach your girls to shoot. Unfortunately, I'm a felon though. I think I can buy. I think I get off of paper in like maybe 6 months or under. My this whole ordeal will finally be done, and I think I can buy my gun rights back though. Goddess says my son has two girlfriends. One of them he's known for 11 years. Let's see. Since they were 16. The others are best friends since they're 15. Girls 29, and they've been married for 5 years. So, wait, he has multiple wives? Oh, Lord. Hmm. I don't know. Oh, well, you know, Lindsay's like, what about hunting rifles? Well, and see, that's the thing, my husband and I used to duck hunt and all that stuff. I mean, so we're well versed in it. But, like I said, I can buy my gun rights back. The girls are married. Oh, wait. Hmm. That's confusing. Yeah, that's true. I mean, he can still teach them. Yeah, we'll be all right. And besides, we breed these American bulldogs. They're not going to let anybody bother us. And there are other ways to hunt. I mean, you don't have to use a firearm. You know, most regular couples can't get along. Oh, I don't know. Hmm. Man, I don't know, man. I don't think I could do that. My husband, I just think I don't know. I don't think I could share. I mean, there's just some things I can't. You have to have, and I have a lot of respect for women who are in those like Mormon relationships, and that's what they want and that's what they seek. I couldn't do that. There's no way in this world. I don't know. I guess we've just been, a unit for so long, I couldn't imagine that. Scott Baylo says the helicopter's flying around. Yeah, no. Lisa said, "I'm not jealous, I'm just not sharing." Yeah, I don't want somebody else's sloppy seconds, you know? It's just kinda gross to me. Oh, I'm kinda uptight though when it comes to all that stuff. I mean, I'm not the most, like, experienced person in the whole wide world, so yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if it works for people, I just like when I sit there and go, huh, I'm just thinking about myself. Like, I put myself in other people's positions and I just think, man, I don't know if I could deal with that. But I mean, if it works for them, what can you do? Dark Wolf said, started dating my ex-wife, asked her if being Mormon meant I could have multiple girlfriends and she slapped me. Oh. Yeah, Scott says he don't want to share his love. Yeah, Scott, could you imagine like if your girl had like multiple husbands? Oh my God. Scott says nobody wants my love in any way. Oh, that's what Joe and I say about each other. We're just like nobody would put up with us but us, you know. And Goddess is saying that they knew each other online before. Ah, man, I don't know. It's different now, though. I mean, when I think about that, I think about people like back in the day, they used to kind of like chat back and forth, and they never really like saw each other. When my sister lives in Cyprus, in the Mediterranean, and when she first left, it was almost like she died. I mean, sometimes I would call her or, she would come visit every 5 years, but it was almost like we were strangers. But when we started Skyping, it was like it's like we made up for all that lost time. And it was really awesome. I felt really connected to her. So I can kind of understand how somebody could feel connected when you can actually see that person. But back in the day, it wasn't like that. Lynn said, we feel the same way. We at least know each other's crazy. Yeah. I mean, we're Joe and I have been through so much, we're real used to each other. So I just like at this stage in the game, I don't think I could do something like that. Maybe maybe in another reality, if different circumstances, maybe, but I don't think so. Oh, it does sound like she's a loving lady, Scott Baylo. I'm glad. Hmm. Girls lived in Hawaii and we lived in New Mexico. Hmm. That's interesting. I don't know. Scott thinks that his girl is a literal angel. That's sweet. Robert's matching people to their comic book characters. Is he streaming right now? See, I haven't gone in his streams in a long time because it's hard. Like when I first started watching him, he was like, drinking and all. It just kind of reminded me of my brother. My brother's a drug addict. I can't watch that. I mean, is he still like using on camera? He's always streaming. Okay. It's just, I don't know. It's hard for me to see it. And yeah, I'm allergic to opiates. So, like, like drinking and just like being like all slurred and fucked up. Like, I can't, it's upsetting to me. First, I got a little kid, then a night girl, then a bald on. Bald on man. Hmm. Oh, he smokes the bong. Well, that's I mean, I don't know. For me, marijuana's a little different. You're partaking in any capacity, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's just something about it. Like just like the other day, I was listening to somebody. Well, somebody was streaming the other day, and that person sounded like extremely slurred, like they had been taking Xanax or drinking or something, and I just couldn't listen to it. It just reminds me of when I was a loss prevention person and like dealing with shoplifters who were all zoned out on Xanax, and they think you don't know that they're on something, but you could totally tell when people are on Xanax. And there's just something about it that's like extremely sad to me. And then they deny it. They always deny it. Like, oh no, I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just like, oh Lord. If I could just record you and play you back to yourself, you would be like ashamed. You would be like pissed at yourself. So Lynn said it was sending me to flashbacks, yeah, because of the beer cans and yelling. Yeah. See, my dad was you know, drank a lot. And then my husband's dad drank a lot. And I can't stand the smell of like alcohol on someone's breath that I'm close to. Like my husband's drinking, like if we drink a couple beers and like make some food or something like on a weekend, like we don't really get that close to each other because it's like it's triggering. Just reminds me of, yeah, my dad being drunk. I don't like that stuff. Corey's like, I don't think he pops pills, just gets messy drunk. Yeah, well, I guess that's not too bad. But sometimes he's just so out there. I was like, man, yeah, like you're watching somebody kill themselves, and I'm just like, I can't do it. But I mean, he's a cool guy. They're not always like that. I mean, I used to watch some of his stuff, and it wasn't like that. But people are going to do what they do. Oh, he's not drunk at the moment. Hey, yeah, I hate the smell. Me too. I hate the smell of alcohol in people's breath. Oof. There's something about it. It just reminds. It's bad memories. Just like Lenz was saying, it's just there's something. It's not appealing. Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, it's really harmful. Like I don't mind being like I have coworkers that come to work stoned every day, and I don't mind being around that. That doesn't bother me, but yeah, I do. I like them sober. I mean, a little high is one thing, but I don't know. To me, it's just not the same. But like my brother, he would come to like family functions or something, and he used to take a lot of different various medications or whatever. I mean, back in the day, you could doctor shop and get multiple medications. He would take, you know, like a cocktail of pain pills and sleeping pills. I mean, just a lot though. Like, when you're taking like 15 opiates a day, I mean, that's a lot. Or if you're getting to the point where you're shooting up cocaine or, that kind of thing, like where it's just extreme and you can hardly speak. For me, like I'm such a I have a really addictive personality, so I just kind of stay away from it just because I think to myself, if I thought to myself, oh, I'll get a bag of weed and it'll be fine. I'll smoke, just at night. It always turns into me smoking like every chance I can get and going through, just blowing through it. I'm just one of those people, so I just stay clear of it. I don't care if other people do it. I just can't. I just have I'm too impulsive. I have too much of an addictive personality. I'll just go through that stuff, you know. I'll be coming home at lunchtime and, it'll get out of control real quick. So I've learned over the years to stay away from it. And besides, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have enough problems. I don't need to throw drugs into the mix. Hey Claire, how you doing? He does have a heart of gold. He's a really good guy. That's the thing. I felt like that for years and years, Linz. I graduated, you know, graduated from high school high, like, I earned a college degree high. So, I lived a lot of my life that way, and you know, I just don't have the personality for it. Yeah, I have a hard time stopping once I start. It's like a freight train. I just can't stop. And I'm really lucky that I'm allergic to some things. Like I'm allergic to I could take morphine or Demerol, but like you know, like Loratab and all that. I'm allergic to that. It makes me break out. What have you missed? Oh Lord. I started streaming 2 hours ago. How much time do you have? Oh yeah, Lisa said a glass of wine. I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll have a glass of wine. That's me too. If I open a bottle of wine, it's gone. I can't drink a glass of wine. Beer is a different thing. Like, if I'll have like one or two beers, like while we're cooking. And then once we eat, I don't drink after that. And we do that every once in a while. But I still haven't even done that in a long time. I'm just not really interested in it. Goddess says she has opioids budget. Some people can do it. Some people can manage it. And I'm not one of those people. One said she started using cannabis in 2010. She was trying to get hubby off of pills, got his medical card. Now, see, that's the thing. If I lived in a state where it was legal, that'd be one thing. I don't know. I probably still stay away from it, knowing me. I can get ugh, I can get amotivational syndrome real quick. That's another thing. I mean, I'll just sit there and not do much. Scott Baylo says, I don't have a cutoff point. I could handle so much of any substance. I probably died many times. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I'm one of those people, like, if, say, I start drinking, like over an extended period of time, it will take, my tolerance builds up so quickly that, like in college, I could drink big fat guys, like grown men under the table. Because my tolerance was just so high. I could sit there and just drink and drink and drink. I just have that, those Irish genetics. Oh, Claire, so sweet. Goddess says my doctors don't do medical marijuana. Yeah. See, and that's a thing for me too. Like I have to I could be tested at any time. So I just haven't done it in years, and I don't really miss it. I like vitamins. I like to take collagen and vitamin C, and you know, I'm really into all that stuff. I'm trying to make sure I have a good quality of life for as long as I live. And that's the thing. I think when you're younger, your body can handle more too. Don't get me wrong. I've probably done like 500 hits of acid in my life, but I don't think I could handle doing something like that now. I just don't think my mind or my body could adjust to it very well. Lisa, you're Irish and Native American. That's pretty cool. I'm Irish, Scottish, and Welsh. So I'm like your basic white girl. See, Lynn says she can get organic and all that stuff. Probably if I was in a state that could do it and I was allowed to do it, I might like grow my own and like fresh juice it. I have a friend who does that. She lives in a state where it's legal. She grows her own cheeses. She like sticks it in her juicer. She like goes and picks it off the plant, like sticks it in her juicer and juices it for medicinal purposes. And she has like seizure disorder though. So I understand that. Hey baby. It's my dog. She's coming up to me for some love. Hey there. Sweet girl. Lisa says, I'm gorgeous and not basic. I'll take that. Thank you. But like it's, I don't have like this like rich. A lot of people are like, yeah, I'm Native American and Spanish. And I'm always like, man, it's so exotic. I wish I had some of that stuff. Yeah, I've heard that the vaporizer is the way to do it. I have never tried one though. I miss that boat. Rabbit says, what's the difference between drug and medicine? The drug you get from someone who doesn't have a license. Yeah. Well, I remember one time I can answer that question. I got into a car wreck years ago. And I had been smoking weed, not at the time, but I got into this wreck and they drug tested me and they were like, you had PCP and cocaine and all this stuff in my system, and all I had done was smoke weed. And I was just like, what? That was one of the last times I ever smoked weed. So, if you're getting the Mexican dirty or whatever, like getting it off the streets, a lot of times, it is sprayed with that stuff to enhance it. And you just don't realize that it's there. And you think, man, this stuff's really strong, but there's a reason it is. But I don't know if they still do it like that. I'm just not 100% sure. I've never had any medical marijuana. I stopped smoking before all that. I haven't done it in a long, long time. And see, I've never taken ecstasy because I remember I started bartending. This shows you how old I really am. I started bartending when I was 18 years old because it was legal in Louisiana. So you could drink and bartend at 18. And so I got my license and started bartending. And I remember seeing people back in, those were kind of the early days, some of the early days of ecstasy, especially in the South. It took longer to get here. And I would serve people who were on ecstasy and their eyes wagging back and forth. I was like, what is going on with these people? And somebody told me, yeah, they're on ecstasy. And they explained to me what it was. And I was like, man, I am never taking that. I was just always afraid. Rabbit says they are liars, the police. Yeah, it wasn't the police or anything. It was just the hospital. Like it was the nurse fussing at me. But, she was like, you could have killed yourself. She was just mad. It's not like I got in trouble for it, but they did drug test me. Hey, MJ, where are you? I live in Mississippi. I'm in my bedroom. But I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. That's why I have this terrible accent. But my parents are both from Mississippi, and when Katrina hit, um, afterwards, I ended up coming up here because I had family here. So, and then our kids were little, like 2 and 3, so we just stayed. We didn't want to make them live in a FEMA trailer in front of our destroyed house. So I live in Mississippi. Like I live in and this town called Brandon. It's a suburb of Jackson, Mississippi. So I live like right in the Jackson metro area. But I live in like a bedroom community where, you commute in. So I live like it's really actually really nice here. I live like on the reservoir and it's nice. Everything here is new. It's like a lot of shops and, you know, it's pretty neat. Scott likes my accent. See, I don't have the Cajun accent. Those are people that like have that French to it. Mine is what they call a yat. And it's an uneducated New Orleans accent. So my husband's worse. He says things like instead of sink, he says zinc sometimes, or his dad says like light bulb. So he calls the toilet the turlet. So it's pretty funny. And then my best friend, his mom is from no, not Chalmette, but Metairie, Louisiana. And she'll be like, "Hey, Martha." She's like, "How's your family? How's your mom? How's your mom and them? What you doing?" You know? So she has a really bad accent. It's really cute though. But they call that a yat. Yeah, but the people who have that Cajun accent, those people live like in like near like Alexandria, Louisiana, like more or like Eunice, Louisiana. You have like people who sound like that down there. But the New Orleans accent is it's a little different. It's more of like a mixture. Well, yeah, I actually I mean I have a degree in fine art. I have a 4-year degree. Yep. How you spell yat? Yeah, it's a Y-A-T. Oh, Goddess has cousins in Metairie. Yeah, I used to live like off of Lake Avenue in Metairie, Louisiana. So I lived there for a little while. I mean, I could hardly afford it there. It's kind of expensive to live in Metairie. My first apartment, I moved out of my house when I was young, and my very first apartment was like it was like one room, and it was like in a mansion that was split up, and it had like a very large room, and then it had this other room that had like a kitchen sink. Like it's like one cabinet with a kitchen sink. It had a clawfoot tub, and I had a little counter with a hot plate. So it was like a kitchen, and a toilet was in there. So it was like a bathroom kitchen combination. It was pretty bad. Dollar bill, y'all. That's right, Lisa. That's funny. Dark Wolf lived in Tennessee for 30 years. Hmm. But, you know, I have somebody who comes and thumbs down every single video of mine. There's like a lot of my videos I have like one thumbs down. I know that's one person doing that. Oh well, I must have rubbed him the wrong way. What can you do? That's all right. I can forgive them. Ain't no big deal. It bothers me a little bit, but maybe they didn't like what I had to say. Maybe they doing it because I'm cursing. I'm not real sure. So, oh, thank you. Yeah, that's okay. I love them, Scott. That's all you can do. Turkle says I have a lot on my vids over the last year. Yeah, I know. I don't understand why. Maybe it's people who just don't agree with, like that wasn't an effect for them, or I'm just not sure. You just never know. Yeah, it's like the one thumbs down. I'm like, you know, that's one person that did that. Because I mean, I don't even have any tags on my videos. Give me a break. And Lynn says, I think they're the ones who know we're speaking the truth. I got a couple of thumbs down on my video on. Oh, really? Huh. Claire said it's MA. It might be. I don't know. I don't know who he is. The only thing that, you know, I mean, you can't find it. I mean, if you try, my husband sat there and researched him heavily because he was just like, who the hell is this person? And the only thing he was able to find was his like name and occupation. There's nothing, he has like no, not any, not anything that's searchable. He has like no online footprint really. Might be just a Scott here. I think they're just buddies and they, you know, they banter back and forth. They better quit picking on my boyfriend. He is adorable. He's see, you're talking about Brian McFarland, huh? Or McFarland. Yeah. Rabbit saying, I think people hate that we have become a community. Maybe. I mean, they can join. It's fine. No judgment here. I don't really care one way or another. See, thought he was dating, or maybe that girl just likes him. The one with the pink hair. I can't remember her name. Hmm. I don't know if I don't know. I see. My husband doesn't know I'm doing all this, and I don't think he'd like it very much. I know he wouldn't like it. In fact, oh, Teresa, yeah, that's who it is. Because she's always like, he's so cute, and she's always making these little cute comments or whatever. But I know she's like his. She helps him research stuff or whatever. Yeah, that would bother me. That would bother me if my man was online and there were girls all, pursuing him or whatever. I'd be like, oh, that made me mad. Oh Lord, it's like 1 in the morning. She's a good friend of yours. That's cool. Yeah, she seems like a nice lady or whatever. I don't know her very well. She's always been nice. Like anytime I've been in the chat, she's always been nice to me. Like if I've ever asked her something, she's answered me or, especially like back in the day. Like now, I mean, that channel's so huge. It's hard to, I mean, it's even hard to talk to these people. Why would this? Because he feels like it makes us targets. He doesn't like me putting our business on the internet. He's like, you don't need those people. You have me. Because he's affected too. I mean, he sees all this. In fact, he sees a lot more than I do. He can predict things really, really well. So, all right, Linz, good night. Yeah. Yeah, I have to get up and go face my boss in the morning. So awesome. It's a patience test. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to stop the stream and go to bed, and I'll be back on tomorrow. Who, my husband? He doesn't want to. No, he does not want to come on with you. How, with me? Hell no. Hell no. He thinks that, the either the government's going to use this to like round us all up when the time comes or make us look mentally ill or, so what can you do? But at any rate, all right, guys, I love y'all. Thanks for listening to me. Yeah, I know he should, but he won't. He's real shy anyway. I don't know who's coming up next. Might not be anyone. It could be you, Dark Wolf. All right. Good night, Patrick. Good night, Scott. Good night, y'all. Love you. Thank you for listening to me ramble. And I'll see y'all tomorrow.